Hey, Jeff here. If you're a car-driving American, chances are you've been to the DMV a handful of times in your life. You could be a new driver getting their driver's test done, renewing your license, changing the address on your license, registering a new car, or whatever you want to do at DMV. Maybe you're loitering outside, hanging out because it's the cool spot in town. I don't care. I don't judge. You have to go to the DMV a handful of times in your life. Unfortunately, there's a stereotype about DMVs where the employees just don't want to be there at all. They're just miserable. And today we're going to read some stories about these DMVs in the form of one-star Google reviews from all over the country, so stay tuned to see if your state gets talked about. Also, if you get a chance, please leave a like on this video. Those likes go a long way for a small channel like mine. And if you really like the video, make sure you love tap that subscribe button, and also don't forget to comment any stories you have down below, and let's just drive right into those reviews. We're going to start our journey off on the East Coast in Georgetown, Delaware. This DMV actually has a 4.2 rating on 959 reviews. That's almost 1,000 reviews. That's pretty crazy for a DMV, so let's go read some one-star reviews. First up is William. They are not following the law on 7-year exemption. They are doing by policy what they failed to get done legislatively, but I guarantee you this, it will stop and heads will roll. It's a pretty common theme in these reviews where people just leave a review that's very vague and you have to either do research about what they're talking about or you just have to take a guess. And for this one, we're just going to take a guess. Let's move on. Before William comes and makes my head roll, let's read about Delilah's Dilemma. This place is a joke. They lost my ID/driver's license through their drive-thru and then blame me for what they did are a bunch of liars. And all they want to do is take money from people. Losing your license is an absolute nightmare. I feel bad for that. But what happened? Like, they went to the drive-thru, gave them their license like you go to a bank, so it goes into that tube going... And somehow in the process of them receiving it, it got misplaced or lost, and then they blame the person in the car who did it. Like, if it eventually made it inside and never went back out, like, what happened to it? That's very strange. I feel bad for Delilah if that's what happened, but if this is one of those things where you get home and that, like, your license ends up being, like, accidentally, like, under your leg or something, like it fell between your thigh, and you're like, uh-oh, I feel bad. But, well, the one-star review's up there, and it's going to stand. All right, let's move on. This DMV's overall rating was 4.2 stars, but Kevin might have a theory about that. Let's see what he had to say. Whoever says this place is efficient is clearly just a plant to give fake good reviews. Anyone can see these idiots should have more people. Why have 24 stations and like 10 of them actually in use? There's absolutely no reason to have everyone waiting 2 hours in this place. Also, it's 2024. You can have an appointment system. There probably are fake reviews, but I don't want to make this video too long, but I could make a video series where we look at reviews and are they real or not, and we look into them a little bit. That'd be kind of fun. Also, it is 2025 now. Everything should have an appointment system, but will an appointment system always work? No Baruski, because we are human beings and we are flawed. Alright, next review. Alright, let's see what Tracy had to say. Went to DMV in Georgetown, Delaware on 2 occasions and the wait time is ridiculous. I had 100 people in front of me each time. I left on both occasions. Not effective or efficient. If there were actually 100 people, like literally 100 people, not just like 60 people, and they went, there's 100 people there in front of me at the DMV, I might actually lose my mind. That might be the point where I just park my car on the side of the road and just walk and walk and walk like Forrest Gump, and no one will care. I won't be famous or raise money for anything, and I'll just end up collapsing on the side of the road, and a bobcat will come out and get me, and alright, well, let's go to a different DMV. Next up, we're in Hollywood. No, not the glamorous one, the one that's in Florida. The DMV here has a 2.7 rating on 245 reviews, almost half the rating as the Delaware one. So let's jump into some one-star and read some wacky stories. We start with James, and he has photographic proof of how crappy this place can be. Here's the definition of why DMVs are poorly ran. They have a line that wraps around the building. They wait until it's getting closer to the time they have to leave to go out and cut the line of people here since 2 a.m. Then you have people sneaking around and cutting off other people. Poor management, zero organization. But what can you expect from this government? You can see in the picture James provided, it looks like an early morning sun, so it's probably like 7 a.m. And look at all of those people. You can't even see the front of the line. It's absolutely insane. Like, that's a ton of people. I would feel so bad if I was out there from 2 a.m. just to be told I can't come in. Like, that would be horrible. And people cutting in line, ooh, I hate line cutters. Let's see what other people have to say about this DMV. Next up is Rocky, and no, it's not Sylvester Stallone's character, sadly. Zero professionalism. Had appointment at 12:15 p.m. and I didn't get in until 1:35 p.m., but somehow walk-ins were going right on in. Lady told me I should have arrived 2 hours prior to my appointment time. Laughable. The whole point of having an appointment system is that it holds your spot in line, so if you can just walk in and cut people in line, and showing up 2 hours early to make sure you have your spot in line, like what's the point of the system? That seems extremely flawed. But it's the government. Let me tell you about Tally's terrible time at this DMV. A 0-star rating isn't good enough to describe the inefficiencies at this location. If you say you accept walk-ins, your operation needs to support it. It is inhumane to have people standing in line for 4+ hours in the sun. Refuse to accept questions from them. Tell them there's no guarantee they will be processed after they've been standing for 4 hours. And then tell them only certain transactions can be facilitated another hour later. By now you should know how many people you can facilitate per transaction with your staff complement. Ask people what they are there for on arrival. Issue your ticket system from outside. Respect people's time. Answer questions and assist when asked. It's your job. Based on these reviews alone, if I lived in Hollywood, Florida, I don't even think I would have a car or even try to have a car, because having a driver's license sounds like a headache. Having to wait outside in the sun just to get something done with your driver's license? No thank you. I'll be a hermit. I don't know. Let's see what happens with other people. I'm definitely going to say this one wrong, but next up is Ryu. They also have a picture with this review, which I'll show after I read it, and they have to say, with all the power I have in me, I try to avoid coming to this location. But when you simply need to replace a lost ID for a job thing the very next day, otherwise would simply do it online, and you have to wait in line for 5 hours, only to get turned away because they're not doing any walk-ins, mind you at 7 a.m. Been here since 2 a.m. I just need to replace my driver's license, that's all. Every time I come here it's absolutely horrid. Try a different one. You've been warned. Waiting since 2 a.m. for that is absolutely terrible. I would just go absolutely nuts. Again, I would probably just walk down the road until I collapsed in the Florida heat here. That's just terrible. The gators would get me. You can see in the picture here, everyone's sitting outside in the dark, and it just looks, it looks absolutely miserable. It looks like an old Black Friday photo, and people would be sitting outside like Walmart and stuff waiting for it to open at like 3, 4 a.m. Now everything opens like a week early for Black Friday, and it doesn't even matter anymore. Black Friday is a scam. All right, more reviews. Let's go. Arturo made his appointment over a month ago. How did his experience go? The worst experience to get a driver's license. I did an appointment 1 month ago when I arrived, with time and all documentation. They requested the appointment printed, and I showed the document, but I have 2 names and 2 last names, and I did the appointment with 1 name and 1 last name, and for this reason the rude lady didn't give me the number to entry. So I decide come this Saturday without appointment, and the website said that it is open, but never they open. And at least 100 people were waiting, so they think we are animals. We need respect. We are people, and we have rights. Like, I totally understand jumping through hoops to prove who you are and everything to get like a driver's license stuff, or people who just go around stealing your identity and everything, but like there has to be a better process for it. Especially look at the pictures for this place, like the lines going around the building and everything for the DMV. It's not even like Kenny Chesney tickets or anything, she thinks my tractor sexy, remember that song? What a good song, right? All right, let's move on. We're gonna head on north to Lincoln, Nebraska, where their DMV has a 2.6 rating on 49 reviews, so let's read some of those 1-star reviews. Let's get Lincoln, Nebraska started off with Mackenzie. Went in last Friday to change my name after getting married. The front desk lady / first point of contact was extremely rude and denied me because I didn't have my birth certificate. I had my marriage license and driver's license, the only 2 things I actually needed. She wasted our time when we had everything that was needed. So I went to a smaller town DMV with no problems. Ooh, that's a little satisfying when you go somewhere with the exact same thing that you had, and it's like, oh yeah, no problem, we'll take care of you, and then you just are like, haha, now I can write a review and just slam dunk on that front desk person. Heck yeah. Next up is Amparo. Let's see what happened to them. Blonde lady from counter 2 verbally abused me and yelled at me. She doesn't have any patience, and she's the one welcoming people. Whole staff is very disrespectful. Horrible customer service. Ooh, they did not have a good time getting verbally abused by somebody at the DMV. That does not sound like fun. Let's see what happened to some other people. What happened to make things so rotten for Freshta? Wanted to renew my driver's license. At least 4 employees were wandering around and chatting with other coworkers. You are getting paid by my tax money. Stop wasting it. Do what you're supposed to do. It can be a very frustrating experience no matter where you go. If you go there and you need help with something, you can see 3 or 4 people standing around talking and no one coming up to the counter you're at needing to, giving you help or assistance. But there can be reasons outside of your knowledge for them standing around and talking, but I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you. John has a long review, but it's very unique, so stay tuned for it. Let's see what he had to say. Once you get to the driver's license examiner's office, DMV, at 4700 Cattle Drive, everything is great and works beautifully. Everyone there needs to be commended for their great job they're doing. However, getting to the place, there is hell to pay. The website is horribly complicated. Even though I have worked with computers 35 years, it's a mess. And if you need to ask a simple question to someone on the phone, it is almost impossible to get a human being. You are being blocked by the computers over and over. In sum, once I got to the DMV office with an appointment, they helped me after waiting 4 minutes. However, getting to the office took me 45 minutes one day, unsuccessfully, and another 30 minutes a second day before I actually found a human being who would actually help me. To hell with the computer system! In sum, according to me, I don't think John knew where this place was, so he tried to go on the website and figure it out, couldn't figure it out, tried to call it, just kept getting stuck in the system over and over again until he finally figured out how to get to a human being, and that really frustrated him, so he left a 1-star review about it online. But the people there, they were great, I guess, but were they really great? Let's keep reading. How did the staff treat Kara? The lady at the front desk was rude. She did not take the time to look at the situation before snapping at my husband and I to take a clipboard and go sit down. My husband is disabled and was having a difficult time while at the front door. What happened at the front door that agitated them so much to tell them to go sit down with the clipboard? What were they doing? Like bashing the doors together or something, goofing around? What were you doing, Kara? What were you doing? I know your husband's disabled, but that doesn't mean he doesn't know the difference between right or wrong. I mean, if he's at the DMV, he can probably drive. What's going on, Kara? Tell us. I want the security camera. Did he fall into a koi pond? What's going on? I feel like Sarah would be a fan of the channel. You don't have any other choice but to keep dealing with this ridiculous waste of money being used as incompetent as the time is managed. The rage-inducing structure here was to be intentional. There must be someone who is embarrassed by it. I do agree with how ridiculous a lot of these reviews are. You do have to deal with the DMV. It's just one of those things in life. If you have a car or an ID or anything, which you need an ID for almost anything in America, which kind of stinks. But hey, not stinks. You need IDs are good, but you know what I mean. It's kind of like a bureaucratic, annoying thing. But all right, let's go to another DMV. Let's go. We're gonna go even further north to the southern part of Wisconsin, to Milwaukee. At one of the DMVs, the Central Milwaukee DMV, which has a 3.7-star rating on 392 reviews. So let's just dive into those reviews. Somebody named Waffles left a 1-star review. Let's see what they had to say. Horrible place, horrible service, downright disrespectful and tasteless. The manager of the DMV is especially awful, berating and belittling her, the very people she's meant to help. My mother came crying to tell me this whole story of how this woman didn't treat her with an ounce of respect. Even another customer stepped in and the lady was wrong enough to tell the man it doesn't matter what he does today, he's still gonna fail for standing up for my mother. I'm ensuring to stay away from here, as you should as well. What a disgusting practice for what's supposed to be treated more delicately. These are people's lives that awful woman is playing with. This review leans into that stereotype I talked about at the beginning of the video, where people at the DMV are just bitter and just hateful and they want to make your day miserable. That way when you take your picture you look so grumpy and your mom goes, "What happened to you? Why do you look so bad?" And then you get pulled over one day and the cop looks at it and they're like, "This isn't you, and you get out and they have to strip you down and put you in handcuffs and you get all "What's going on?" Turns out it actually isn't a cop and you get kidnapped and then you're on a true crime video on YouTube, right? That could happen. You never know. Alright, moving on. If there's one review to pay attention to, it's this one, because this is a head scratcher for sure. Alright, here we go. Let's see what Emily had to say. If someone dies in a hot car because they were not allowed to park in the empty, shaded fire lanes with small children because their AC went out on an 81-degree day, will be on them. It's sad organizations rarely put any effort on being a humane, decent place, and cannot put laws in place for customers, but because of power and authority always trumps human decency. How is it going to hurt you to let an intended vehicle with hazard lights on wait in the shade? If there was an emergency vehicle coming into the parking lot, it would take no longer than 30 seconds for me to move it out of the way. If it was an unintended car, then sure, tow it, give them a ticket. But really, a car with small children on a hot day? In case you were a little confused, I'll give you a recap of what Emily was talking about. It was 81 degrees out, her AC wasn't working in her car, so she wanted to park in the fire lane at the DMV in the shade with her lights on while she was in the vehicle with kids. I'm a little confused by that one, but she was a little mad that she was told to move her car because she felt entitled to the fire lane, and it would take no longer than 30 seconds. What if you couldn't move your car because you were in the way and the fire trucks can't get to it and now your kids are stuck there? Like, it's very strange. Like, can't you park somewhere or like find somewhere to the kids to go while you go to the DMV? I'm sorry about that, but like, to leave a review because you wanted to be entitled to the fire lane is just absolutely out of my that doesn't make sense. It's out of my world. I don't understand that. It would never even cross my mind unless I was on fire. Next up is Natalia. Do not go there. You will regret you did. Find other DMV services. The employees are miserable and they will make sure to ruin your day. Unfair, unjust, rude, unprofessional, to say the least. Sounds like something really, really bad happened to Natalia when she went there. I would try to find other DMV services too if I read this review before going. Does it get any worse? I bet it does. Let's keep reading. Joel's up next. I understand that it's not a fun job dealing with people, but you don't need to be rude, crabby, or purposefully unhelpful. I remember when I was a kid, people would say, it takes more muscles to make a frown than make a smile. And I'm like, maybe these DMV people need some of that advice. Maybe that needs to be a big poster that's everywhere. Make more smiles. It'll make the day go by quicker. If they can get home quicker to their, their families or whatnot. That'd be pretty cool. But no, it seems like they're always unhelpful. The stereotype lives on. Let's see if it keeps going. Let's see what JP had to say. I just gave 1 star because that's the minimum. My experience was awful. The lady who took me on the road test was extremely rude. She slammed the door at the beginning and was giving me sarcastic answers and comments. She was middle-aged lady, thin, with shoulder hair, one of those individuals who had power position complex. So I did my road test on Greendale, and it was smooth and easy, no trouble at all. My advice is never go there for a road test. This was the first road test related review, and it actually reminded me back in the day when people would do their road tests. There was all these other cities around where if you go up to this city, it's like a super easy one, or if you go to this one, it's super hard or that. I actually got my license on the first try, which was pretty awesome for me. I was really nervous, but hey, I'm pretty cool because I'm Jeff. Alright. Let's go to the last DMV. Come on, stick with me. Let's go. For the last stop here, we go to the sunny west coast of San Diego, California. If you've made it this far, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. This DMV has a 2.9 rating with over 1,049 reviews. Wow, that's a lot of reviews. Let's go read some of those 1-star reviews. Let's start off with Laura Marie. Attention supervisor managers of this location, Normal Street. Please, please, please remove that bitter, completely rotten attitude DMV person. Yes, you know who she is. The one with extra bad personality. She wears bright, shockingly bright, green round glasses, small frame, and has short dark brown hair. She is unfriendly, rude, and needs to go work in the back office. My friend told me today about his experience and I went, does she have green round glasses? And he said, yep, that's her. He shared his experience and it was the exact same as mine. Yelling at you, commanding orders. I'm sure this isn't your first complaint about her, but really it's time she was transferred department, whereas she doesn't have to work with the public. The way this lady is described, it kind of sounds like the little seamstress lady in The Incredibles, where she's has the small glasses and stuff, but it's the evil, mean version, not the one that makes super cool suits and all that, but shockingly bad attitude, shockingly bright green glasses, small frame. Sounds just terrible. What's with these mean people working at DMVs? I don't understand it. Alright, let's move on. It's Annalisa's turn. If I could, I would give 0 starts. People there were so rude, except one nice lady at one of the desks. Everyone act like you're stupid. I went to ask for an information and they not only mistreated me, but when I asked for information on the online test, he said, well, if it's a mistake, I can't do anything because it's a risk you take to do the online test they offer. People were talking so much and so loud all the time while I test. and the workers were yelling and making things worse. I don't recommend this as the worst DMV place. I would give this review 0 stars because I had a hard time reading and it was all over the place, but I do feel bad when these people try to take a test and like people are being loud and stuff and then you go ask for help and you get yelled at. Like that just sounds like a nightmare. These DMV people need a lesson from Jeff. I'll come over there and give them some Rex Kwando, except for it's Jeff Kwando. And niceness. Selman tries to sell us on not coming here. Let's see what happened.
Do not take your behind-the-wheel test here. I repeat, do not.
I took my test there. Old lady, white, glasses, probably 5'7" height. The worst, mean, rude, bossy. She will make you go through all of California in that test. And a bunch of turns, very meticulous. I could give you my whole experience, but it's a long one. I took my test a month later and passed easy in El Cajun. I have no idea how to say that, I'm sorry. This review reminds me of the rumors of like the driver test instructors and stuff like that when you had to get your road test done and like, oh, if you get this person, they make you parallel park actually between 2 cars. If you get this person, they don't make you do it at all. I remember all the descriptions and stuff of every person. This reminds me quite a bit like that, so I'm glad that that still goes on all these years later. Stephanie's calling out for someone's termination. What happened? Please fire the old lady at window 23. She made rude comments to me and was extremely impatient. She still managed to type an incorrect first and last name on my vehicle registration before sending me away. I checked back in at the front desk to get it corrected, and without asking, the worker knew right away which counter I was at. They said they would simply assign me a different person because they knew the lady at window 23 is grumpy. I can't believe she gets to keep her job when customers and her own coworkers complain about her. The line in the review, please fire the old lady, really cracked me up because it's like, wow, alright, fire the old lady at the DMV. That sounds kind of mean, but if she's mean to everyone to the point where the coworkers and stuff know she's mean, maybe she needs to retire or move on from the DMV and become like a Walmart greeter or something like that. I'm not sure. Next up is Vitali. No, not that Vitali YouTuber crazy guy, a different Vitali. Let's see what they had to say. Terrible level of service. In particular, a manager who doesn't care about your time. She leaves and does her other things while you're waiting for her. I promise I'm not leaving out the paragraph of context that goes along with this. I really want to know what he was waiting on the manager for and where did she leave that he knew where she went. Like, come on, Vitali, let me know what happened. But no, they never let you know what happened. You just have to take a guess. Use your imagination. But I don't wanna. And with that one, you've made it to the end of the video, and if you've made it this far, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you like this video, because there's more to come and more different kinds of videos to come. And I've been Jeff, and make sure you check out a different video on my channel if you've made it this far too. And until next time, I'll see you later, because if I don't see you until some other time that isn't now, it'll have to be later, because that's just how time works. Goodbye.